Welcome back. We are here for the Between Stars and Suns, Season 2, Episode 16. Okay, so quick previously on for the benefit of Sir Atticus. Unfortunately, we are going to be missing our player for Ernest. So hopefully he will be taking bows backstage and then coming on board for curtain call for next episode. Okay, so yeah, it'll just be the three of them. So for again Sir Atticus's benefit, let's go ahead and do a previously on whatever you guys remember from last time. God knows it was a hell of a lot. So yeah, whomever wants to get started, I'll try to fill in the blanks.
Well, I do recall that Ernest had some lovely chats with the doctor and the patients at Bethlehem Royal Hospital. Dr. Weiss decided, you know what's good? Let's go off by myself because we needed to fap out the time a bit because we really wanted a night phase for everyone. So I went investigating at sort of this zone 0 for this case of where the play was previously performed at. Went talking, found a bunch of notes falling from the ceiling, which of course they could be completely hidden away under most reasonable circumstances. However, from the shadows, Dr. Weiss was being stalked by one Dame Georgie. So that's where Dr. Weiss has been left at. I'm not sure what else has happened, because we have other players involved.
Hi. Yeah, so Liat, she was confronted by the bobbies, the coppers, the pigs, the porkers. But little did they know that their very own special detective inspector, Pettigrew, was right underneath her heel as a servant. And so as he made her lackluster coffee, she ended up going to meet with Mr. Vardana's former wife to get some more information about his murder, their relationship, what could have happened, what could have been the issues surrounding the whole thing. And after finding a few clues through that conversation, we did a bit of answering question. We answered the first question, I believe, to the collector, which is who knows more of the collector? Who knows more of the collector than they've let on? And that we determined that was actually both the wife as well as the servant girl who we met in the first session with this threat, Elodie. The two of them seem to have some kind of connection to each other as well as the collector, due to some sort of some recurring themes and symbolism with sapphires and emeralds and butterflies and things of that nature. And that's all I really remember. unless there was anything else that happened.
I do remember one more thing that I did. I did answer the King of Shadows because I went off on a tangent because I know so much about this game, and I realized, oh yeah, the Society Obscura. That has to do with Atticus Whately and whatnot. So that's where the play is being performed next.
And I believe there was a little stinger where Patrick Fig met up with the Queen of Hearts and seemed to change before her eyes as she invited him to join her. And that's where we left that off. Yay! So, just to clarify, as far as I understand it, somebody's going to go watch the play this evening. It's going to be Liat, I believe. And then, Dr. Weiss, were you planning on going anywhere? I mean, without knowing that you were necessarily going to be stalked by Dame Georgie, were you planning on going anywhere?
Oh, I wanted to see the play as well, but I didn't
Okay.
think that I was going to be able to during this night phase because, again, I have a vampire on my tail and a particularly annoying one at that. So let's
Hey,
not get ahead of ourselves.
vampires love the theater too. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, so I have a +1 effectively.
And
+1.
I invited Mrs. Vardana to the play as well. I think I did it. If not, that's what I wanted to do.
I think you did. And
Yeah.
did you say that you wanted to have Elodie attend you both?
I don't remember, but sure, if she wants to pop up, I'll let you figure that out. But definitely Miss Vardana.
Okay. Do you
I mean,
think by
I don't think Liat would have wanted her to come. I mean, she's only a servant, and
Okay,
that would
okay,
be
that's fine.
gross.
No, that's
But
fine. That's fine. That's fine. She is a follower, but
I mean, being seen with the help is just.
Okay, fine. Speaking of help, do you think that by this point in, like, by night phase that Abdurrahman has reconstituted?
Actually, yeah, I was actually thinking about that. I think he's back, but not in the same form.
Oh,
I think that he's still cooking. Um, uh, so I think that he will be arriving as something else until he's able to reconstitute as his full size self.
okay. Alrighty. Interesting. Okay, so,
And I'll say it now.
okay.
He'll be a Sphinx cat.
He'll be like a what?
Sphinx cat.
Oh, like without a tail?
No, without fur.
Oh, wait. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. So I think Manxes are the ones without tails and Sphinxes are the ones without fur. Okay,
Yeah, hairless.
got it. Interesting. Ooh, fascinating.
Yeah, he's a little bingus. So
Oh God. Let me see. Sir Atticus. Um, since we are not sure what you had been doing since, during the right during the day phase.
Oh, I was dealing with the fact that some rando challenged me to a duel, and I had to remember what it was like to deal with the gentry.
Yep. Okay. So while everything else was going on as well, you were dealing with this. Dr. Rodney Walters, your father had dismissed his father and your family. I mean,
And he's
and his
decided to
family.
make it personal? Like,
Yeah, because I mean, I think also too, your father had dissed him as well. So
and I'm being held responsible for my parents' mistakes. Great.
absolutely,
Perfect.
absolutely, you are
Wonderful.
Wellington-Hughes for sure. But on top of that,
Uh-huh.
since you were not here last time, you owe Cosmic Passage, I believe.
Indeed, I do.
Oh God.
Would you like for me to decide what I'm doing before Cosmic Passage ruins it all for me, or do we find out together?
Let's find out together. You know I love that kind of stuff.
Well, we're both gonna be really happy because today I rolled 2 5s. That's right. That's a 12.
Wait, what kind of benefit does that give me?
Absolutely nothing unless you want to give me a really cool benefit for rolling a +12 on my on my syncing with the beast.
Well, you do still get the advantage
Advantage on
on
my
your
next roll.
Correct. And describe what aspect of the beast you feel helping you. This may come in handy for you. And you might get something a little special later on in the nighttime.
I think that the beast's reflexes are giving me strength. I feel perfect awareness of my body, and that gives me an awareness of how I can interface with the world around me.
That should come in handy for later.
I know I have a duel coming up, so hopefully that'll help.
That may not be your first roll, though. We'll see.
I mean, fair point. Well played.
But if I'm not mistaken, does the play count as the unseen, or is that just something we narrate?
Oh no, you know what? Hold on.
Yeah, because there are special rules with this.
While this is in play, sorry. You have to add a line to each of the unseen prompts. So evidently, regardless, while this threat is active, the keeper must add the following question to each prompt in the unseen. How does reality subtly distort in the background? So this is going to be great, right? Because it's like, not only do I have a cinematic unseen going on elsewhere in London, but then I'm also going to be like holding the play in its specific acts as we're going through.
Yeah, it's kind of like night work in this regard.
Okay.
Good luck, Mads.
Yes. No. It's great. It's great. No, trust me. I'm very happy with this. It's
Very
just, glad I went to pee already. All right, great. Okay. So, and I didn't choose an unseen because I'm a dork. Okay, give me a second. We did Seeing Red. Did All the Lost Children. Oh boy, do I do that one? Yeah, we'll do this one. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, this is not in here, and I apologize for that because I thought I had picked it out already. Actually, you know what? We're gonna make it a little simpler for myself. I'm gonna save the last Queen of Hearts unseen for a later date. We're gonna do Cult of the Pig. I owe you something since I took away Patrick. All right, so the unseen for this evening. A secretive cult dedicated to the pagan swine god Moch has gathered in a fashionable salon on this holy night to make offerings to their porcine deity. Paint the scene is, of course, everyone. Second prompt will be Mike. Third prompt will be Chaotic. Last prompt will be Jack. All right. So, get started. Paint the scene. How has this otherwise sumptuously decorated salon been changed to make it a ritual space dedicated to an ancient pagan pig god? And this is for everyone.
All of the servants they're wearing, servant attire, butler attire, but they all have flayed pig heads on their faces as masks. They're all wearing white gloves.
How long that the gloves will remain white for is a bit of a mystery because there has been a lot of mud that has been brought into this salon. I think we see, otherwise the edges of it looks pretty like normal salon, but like the slick of people stomping through the room has just created sort of sprays of mud all across the wall and whatnot.
I think where normally servants would be going around serving drinks and refreshments, canapes, that sort of thing, I think they have just a variety of ritual components choose the incense that strikes you best for this evening's festivities. Do you like this particular censer? Use that as well, that sort of thing.
Liat, you have gone on ahead because you went to go pick up Mrs.
Not
Vardana. The reason why it's only Liat picking up Mrs. Vardana is because you are a little bit detained, Dr. Weiss. But I'll get to you in half a mo. Unless you had something to add.
don't forget the unseen special rules.
Yes. Sorry about that. So, how does reality subtly distort in the background?
Mhm.
If you'd like to add a detail.
That's something that each of us does, or
Yep.
Mhm.
there's like a massive painting, an oil painting on one of the walls, called the Boar Hunt, and it's actually a group of humans fleeing these sort of mounted anthropomorphic boars who are wielding swords and spears. But it wasn't like that before. At first, it was just humans chasing down boar, but clearly, whatever's happening with reality has sort of switched those positions.
I think with this celebration, there is a feast being laid out, but the normal fruits and vegetables, they begin to rot, but people just seemingly just ignore it as they gorge themselves.
I think that there's a newspaper and it has a puff piece that's talking about local holidays that are happening. And there's a very incensed article about how we need to go back to the good old fashioned values, what Mock was really about. And just that sort of absurd outrage for, what we know this cult to actually be about, but being spoken of in a rather mainstream fashion.
Oh no, make Mock great again. We start with Liat, picking up Mrs. Vardana and bringing her to Society Obscura. And I'm going to say that when you bring her to the Society Obscura, and from last season, it's of course you made the descriptions and it's like, doing the townhouse and everything like this. But I think because of the King in Shadow's influence, it looks like it is literally swathed in shadow. Where this might be a night of the full moon, where elsewhere it is also, a great night of Mock. This doesn't seem to touch the townhouse that contains the society, at least this eve. You see it like rippling in shadow. Maybe the trees that surround the place like start to look like fingers reaching for the sky. And so you are not the only people that ride up into this place, dropped off. You see other playgoers, I suppose, of different sorts and different types. However, I think you will also notice that there are people that have their faces shadowed, maybe hooded, to conceal some kind of distortion or disfigurement. Mrs. Vardana turns to you and asks, "So what are we doing here? What is this all about?"
It's called the theater, love. Have you never been to a play?
Yes, but usually it's down at the West End of some sort. I mean, either with bawdy entertainment or some of the more formal type of play. This seems rather odd, being here in a townhome.
Well, isn't that what makes it exciting? Something unusual, something off the beaten path.
Well, if it's experimental, I'm sure it's going to be fine.
Come now, darling. Something tells me you're no stranger to experimentation.
Hmm.
Now out with you. Go.
All right. So, um, what happens when you go inside is even more distorted. As you file in with others, I think you will see that the staircase or the levels look like spiraling levels that reach up into the loft area, the highest level of the townhome, and you can look up and then see up to the skylight. But what seems to be happening is different on every single level, and you see masked figures leaning over the balustrades of each level and chanting down at you all as you make your way to the first level to watch Act 1. Act 1. You are all standing and you are watching this somewhat normal depiction of the day-to-day life of the female protagonist, identified as the journeywoman, and going about her way, her business, and then she receives news that her 3 immediate family members, her mother, her father, and her brother, have all been killed in a bizarre fishing accident. The Greek-style chorus touts on, collectively narrating much of the story. Paint the scene. What sort of masks do they wear, and why do they feel so out of place for this? Paint the scene for everyone.
Did you put that text in the chat?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have a few masks that I could pull, but I don't want to pick the easy ones first.
The one problem with the thing being an image is that it's not easy to cut and paste or copy and paste. Correctly narrates much of the story. Your patience is appreciated. What sort of masks do they wear, and why do they feel out of place?
I think that they're all wearing different types of masks. One that jumps out at me is rather snarky member of the chorus who keeps on making jabs and jokes at the goings on the stage. The peculiarity is that this figure is wearing an Italian commedia dell'arte style mask, specifically that one of Arlecchino, the servant clown, sometimes to do masters. And well, this isn't an Italian play, so it's a little bit out of place.
There's one that's a bit more crude. It's looks like it's maybe like been sort of cobbled together from found objects. The mouth and the eyes are sort of filled with gold coins that have been sort of, I guess, pasted into. Pasted isn't the right word, but just like sort of like embedded in the eyes and the mouth of this thing. And the coins themselves, some of them at least resemble some of the coins that Liat wears in her adornments.
I think that this course is being revealed like person by person about who's a part of it, and the last few are less emblematic of humanity's traits, but rather taking on full animalistic representations. There is this sort of boar-headed pig mask who merely says nothing but watches and snorts and laughs along as enjoying in the debacle of suffering.
I'm gonna add one more detail, and who knows if it means anything. But I think the masked one, let's just say that he is the head of this chorus. I think he wears a collar that has a heart for a lock, and it looks like it's waiting for a key. And now we go back to the house. So, Dr. Weiss, I think as you're making ready for going to the play with Liat, at least that is your intention, I think you hear a knock at your window. And is this going to be at your bedroom window, or is this going to be at your lab window?
I think it's more entertaining if it's at my lab window. I think, for the most part, I keep this sort of film over the window just so people don't perceive it as a window and be aware like that this level of the house even exists.
Yeah.
But it's enough that the person could crawl in or out of if need be.
Right.
It's not the biggest window in the world, but it is a window. I think I just hear this tapping.
Mm-hmm. You do. And you hear a voice coming behind it, and it says, John, John, can you hear me? It's Dame Georgie's voice.
Uh-huh. I think he's just frozen for a moment. And then he slowly makes his way towards the window and pushes it up to take a look out.
Do you think that this window looks out into the very wild garden back of Hargrave House? Like it's kind of shaded and hidden by some of the trees?
I think so. Just where I imagine like the house either looks out towards the street or looks out towards the back, because like we have houses on either side.
Right.
Because we do have neighbors, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. But I'm going to say that maybe perhaps this is one that, because it is amidst this wooded cover, canopy, yeah, no one is aware that this window is up here. Except somehow Dame Georgie.
Well,
And you see him peeking in or up at you. Like as he's got his hands like on the ledge. How are you, John?
can't you just be like a normal person and come inside? Why are you just tapping at the window?
I might not be welcome at Hargrave House anymore.
Why won't you be welcomed in Hargrave House? You're always welcomed.
Are you welcoming me, John? Are you welcoming me inside?
Yes, this is your home. I guess.
I think he starts to smile, and I think as he starts to smile, you start seeing like the glint of some incisors that may be a little bit too long. If you're sure, John.
I'm sure. To be fair, I did think you were dead because you did not show up on time. That is rather disappointing.
instead of answering you, he will push himself up effortlessly from the, below the ledge position and like almost like hop into your room. And if you're saying that that window is a little bit too small, somehow he kind of insinuates himself into your lab window, being even of the size that he is in this smaller space. And he looks around. What does he see in your lab?
He sees an attempt to clean up this place because it was previously a very disused, like, storage space. There has been a remarkable, like, import of, like, jars and various liquids of various types and just medicinal ingredients, lots of labels, handwritten by Dr. Weiss, of course. But also, there's the child. Sort of, as much as Dr. Weiss is a man of science, he still has some belief, some ritualistic behaviors. And so there is this altar and various jars, most of them which are empty, but we do see the eyes floating in the liquid, staring back blankly.
He will make as if he's going to reach for the eyes.
Don't.
Don't?
No.
Really? Huh. Who knew you were so sensitive about your possessions?
I understand I am a guest in this space, and I do welcome that I'm eventually getting to progress on my personal pet projects, but I'd rather you not touch anything sensitive.
As you wish. And you notice as he's withdrawing his hand, it's quite pale.
Mhm.
And there's like a slice of shadow that seems to go across his eyes, but yet his eyes seem to glint and glow in the darkness. It
Where?
seems to be coming along.
Yes. Where have you been lately?
Oh. I have been in the most wondrous of places. There is no map for this place. There's merely the feeling and the belonging of this.
One last place to finally explore, where no man has gone before.
I'm sure there have been others, but none like me. None that has the appreciation of my queen. And he says that very wistfully.
So I take it that you've been move your attentions elsewhere outside of Hargrave House, but you still need an agent on the inside, I imagine.
Oh, yes. Are you willing to be that agent?
Of course. You're the reason I'm employed. I'm out here in the world. I don't think I would be getting much done, personally or professionally otherwise.
But I don't think that you need my monetary resources, John.
Monetary, that's less important. It's social standing. For as sometimes a little bit crass as you might be, you still have power in certain circles. And I am in debt to you.
He folds his arms, and just looks at you with this lopsided grin and says, "What if we made a deal,
Ooh.
John? And in return for being my agent here, that I can help provide you with opportunities to," and he looks around, "fulfill your life's work?"
Hmm. Now this is different. I thought you didn't like you get your hands so dirty as to get involved with my personal projects. Rather
Oh,
just enable me.
let's just say that I've gotten a taste for it.
Oh, excellent.
And we're going to head over to Sir Atticus. Sir Atticus, while this is going on upstairs, Dr. Weiss is engrossed in his lab for reasons. I think get that wonderful knock at the door.
I do.
Yes.
Sure. I'm smoking, looking over dueling codes for London's modern gentry, trying to get familiar. What the hell is a second? Do they also shoot? Is does the doctor have to be mandated by the state? Is it? What if their documentation? And Atticus just opens the door. Georgie. Wait, oh wait, no. He wouldn't assume that Georgie is present.
No, I mean, like, you were probably pretty engrossed in,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
looking up
yeah.
shit.
So, damn, can't make heads or tails of this whole thing. Ernest, give me a hand. And he opens the door. Who? It's not Ernest, is it?
It is not Ernest at all. I think you see. Oh, let's make it fun for you.
Oh, goody.
Oh, goody. Night move.
Okay.
I think you're going to see some rather large figures in front of you at the door of Hargrave House, and they mean hostile behavior. So let's start there.
Oh, this is
What do you think can
easy.
go? What do you think can go wrong if you
Oh,
fail and lose your nerve?
if I
It's definitely
if
vitality.
oh yeah. Oh no, no, no. I'm very in the middle of reading something and something big and scary shows up on the front door. Please,
Mhm.
this was my bread and butter. This is the first thing I dealt with. I'm afraid that these people are going to knock me off balance, break into the house, and probably go after the less physically inclined members of the house if they're still around.
Quite so, quite so. Or maybe they're in search of something else that's around here.
I mean, it's a shame because they're not getting past that front door.
Okay. Well, at any rate, it is worse that they're not only going to go after the lesser vital people in the house if they are around, but I think they're going to plant something in the house
Okay.
to further on a master plan.
Okay. Uh,
But they're going to cause a lot of carnage while they're at it, and you're here, so why not?
you know, fair point. There's just one tiny question I have to ask that peels the veil back. Am I fighting a creature that is of a fey or shape changing origin?
I'm going to say yes in
Okay.
both respects.
Uh, I'm not going to double dip. I will just take the +1 from Fueled by Vengeance, which says when pursuing or fighting a creature that is of the same type as the beast, get a +1 to the associated die rolls.
Okay, but hold on a second. So you can still get advantage. That's different from a +1. So you can roll with advantage because of that cosmic passage result.
I don't get both?
You do. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like you weren't going to do it. So.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Just making sure.
So I would be rolling with vitality.
Mm-hmm. With advantage, +1.
Plus
and
1.
your vitality. Yeah. All of that.
Wow, that's terrible.
What did you get?
Triple twos. So
Is that a
that
6?
would no, that's an 8.
Okay.
That's right.
I'm
That's
like-
right. With all those
I
bonuses,
don't-
I'm able to take double 2s and turn it into an 8.
Okay. On a 7 to 9, you do it or hold steady, but there's a complication or cost. Okay, so here's the thing. So, you actually have seen one of these figures before. It is the huntsman. Big, broad-shouldered.
Buddy, he hasn't
Blonde
been
and-
around in forever.
Well, he gave you that cryptic message as he was slinging that axe, and I think this axe is slicing towards your head. And then behind him looks like some kind of creature. You can't quite identify what it is. It seems to be half bird, half, well, no, I shouldn't say half, because that's no such thing. Part man, part bird, and then part something furry, fuzzy, something. I don't know.
It's a chimera.
Yeah, of sorts, but I mean, like not of the lion, goat, and snake kind.
Okay.
Okay, so, yeah, and yeah, the axe is swinging at your head, and this creature behind the huntsman is backing him up. So, and they're gonna bum rush the door, basically.
Do I finally mark something on my saber? I think I will. I don't like that. I want to hold these guys off from the front door, so I would like to mark off one of the boxes on a hunter's life, which bumps up the result by a tier, making
Okay,
it a 10 plus.
nice. Okay, so read off the move, please. Hunter's life.
I'll read the relevant part.
Yep.
When you use the weapon in physical combat with a supernatural creature, you can mark a box and describe how the weapon has been modified to be particularly effective against creatures of this type. If you do so, you can increase the result tier of a single die roll connected to that combat as if you had used a Janus mask. And then afterwards, I narrate a flashback showing one of my ancestors destroying a monster of that type using the hereditary weapon, in this case, the burden.
Okay.
I think that the reach is a bit too far out for a cutlass like the burden. So I twist the handle and the blade breaks into a bunch of smaller segmented pieces like a bladed whip. And I use that to create space and control the area around the door. And yeah, no one's really expecting that, so I think it takes the X-Man a little bit off balance. All this glittering steel and iron.
For sure. Oh my gosh. So yeah, you can narrate the flashback to your ancestor like in the beginning of the second
Yep.
second act and stuff. Second act. All right. And you've already covered it with the 10. Okay, cool. Now back to Act 2. So Liat, as you and Mrs. Vardana watch, or I should say, are following the procession upward into the second level of the Society Obscura. Before you had started on the ground floor, there was like some candelabras like lit to kind of guide the way, and then you saw Act 1 on the first floor. Now you have made your way to Act 2, and as you are going up the stairs, I think as you make your way to the second level, to the second floor, and you look out the window, I think you see the full moon, as I said, but as you're looking at it, you notice through the clutching branches of the trees outside that the moon starts to blush maroon as the young men in the audience start to complain of, what's going on? I'm so tired. And they start to like visibly collapse as like in their companions' arms as they're making their way to the second floor. And so the second act begins. And what you see here, it becomes considerably more strange. I think the lighting has gone from simple candelabra to somehow shafts of twilight, or blues and purples and greens that seem to give the idea that it's like on some kind of river. And this is considerably more strange. The journeywoman travels to the underworld with a character called the Boatman, and they seek to find the court of the occluded king, as announced by this Greek-style chorus, in order to petition him for the release of her family from his shadowy realm. Paint the scene. What strange visions are displayed, what strange vistas are displayed on the backdrop during the journeywoman's travels through the underworld?
The backdrop actually wobbles a bit as though someone that was shaking it from behind, as we see it have this sort of painted on this picture of an anatomical heart to mimic it beating.
Can you repeat the prompt, please?
What strange vistas are displayed on the backdrop during the journeywoman's travels through the underworld?
I think there is a courtroom filled with thousands and thousands of faceless hordes that await some judgment of some kind. But you can tell from the backdrop that the wait is long. And given her mission, she does not have time to tarry.
There's this sort of piece of floating earth that's floating in this sort of like cosmic expanse. And on the bottom of it is an upside down house that looks like a very specific house in Hargrave and in Belgrave Square. But there are people who are painted as if falling out of the house. One is maybe like a servant or a butler, but ravishing dark curls and fair skin, a little bit of a mustache. We see one that looks has like a shabby looking duster jacket on, kind of surrounded by these weird, strange quills. We see a very broad, big looking man with a bushy mustache and a sword at his side. And we see another young woman in this sort of petal pink dress, but they're all being sent into this sort of fiery hell pit to be devoured.
And I'm doing it a little backwards, but we are going into the unseen. Mike, Moch demands a sacrifice of riches. What does the cult offer him? Describe the manner of the offering. And with King in Shadows, how does reality subtly distort in the background?
I think because this is a bunch of gentry, right? This is a fancy salon where rich people come to give their offerings. I think that there is a servant that's going around and collecting offerings so that people can still converse and discuss while still giving their gold rings, bars, bars of gold and bullion, gemstones, and these are all left in front of an altar. But it's just there. It's not being consumed until the host, the gracious and honorable host comes forth with a stack of papers, stocks, the entirety of this man's wealth, uh, which he lays and then uses as kindling to light this altar, melting down this gold and gemstones and everything else into ruin, into loss. By the end of this night, this man will have no material wealth left to give. And that is his greatest offering.
And is the reality distortion the fact that he can do this with just some paper kindling?
I was thinking about that, but it I don't know. Religious magic, who knows?
Okey-doke. All right, back to the play. So, Liat, you see this. How do you feel as you're watching this journey into the supposed underworld and seeing these renditions, this interpretation of what goes beyond?
I mean, it's no underworld that she's familiar with, so she assumes that they're just kind of taking flowery liberties with it. She's a trooper. She's she's trying to stay open minded about this. It feels a little bit pretentious though. She's stroking Abdurrahman. He's sort of like cuddled up in her lap, is like wrapped in this sort of like white linen shawl. But he also looks very bored by this. I think Liat though is more curious about how Mrs. Vardana is taking this all in though. And if it's possible, I'd like to do an investigation move with that.
Sure. I'm going to say that as you're standing there watching this, but then also taking glances at her, I'm going to say that her immediate reaction is she starts to cry. Like not great sobs or anything, but like her eyes are looking glassy, like she's tearing up, but she's kind of trying to hold it in as best as she can.
Dear,
Go ahead.
does this remind you of something your husband did to you? Did he put you through hell?
Without looking at you, but her eyes are like maybe one tear like drops down and slides down her cheek. I think she says, "There is no hell, because hell is everywhere. No one thing can make someone feel the lowest of the low. It is, what did they say somewhere? It is the death of 1,000 cuts, or words, or prods. No one thing." What would you like to roll with? If you want to continue to talk to her, it would be
Presence if
presence.
possible. Yeah.
Sure.
And does do any of my conditions give any push on these rolls, or?
Let me look. I almost want to say one woman show, except the way you're asking right now doesn't really seem to push that way. So I'm gonna say no.
All right, that's gonna be a 9.
Okay.
And if it's possible, I'd like to find one for the collector.
Right. That seems to be the one I always seem to manage to give doubles, so I gotta really make sure I don't do that. I'm gonna say, in talking to her, as you're listening to her talk about the death by 1,000 cuts, and it's not just one thing, and you can tell me the context of this, or work it into the clue somehow. But I think you start to remember in your past, somewhere maybe, that her look reminds you of maybe a servant or a follower or someone that you knew long ago. And you remember their face very clearly, but you also remember in your memory very clearly. You remember silk ropes stained with blood.
And just so I'm understanding, is this making me think of a moment?
That's making you think of a moment.
Yeah.
Her face, what she says, that sort of thing. And so maybe you're remembering someone in your past. And you're remembering specifically this memory of silk ropes stained with blood. Is it someone that we've seen before, Liat? Or is this somebody different?
I think it's someone different. I think it's from a long time ago.
Hmm.
But I think it's perhaps from around the same era, that like during the same sort of decade that the first time the collector was hunting.
If you want to make a note of that somewhere, so this way, if you need to contextualize it, you can. Okay? But yeah. And your complication. Do I do this? Yeah, I do it. Okay. I think as you're coming out of this memory, and again, with the way it's placed, you have people that are surrounding the play itself, watching this from different areas. And I think across the way, or maybe on a different level, you look around and up and you see the dewy, shining face of Guinevere.
I think this instantly causes her to sort of perk up and look back, with no sort of subtlety at all. She just sort of perks up and then turns her head.
Mm-hmm. And I think Guinevere is beckoning to you from where she is.
Yeah. She'll pick up Abdurrahman and just without saying anything to Mrs. Verdun, I'll just start to get up and make her way upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, and let's go back to Dr. Weiss.
In my perfectly normal conversation.
Your perfectly normal conversation with your friend, your acquaintance, your boss. I don't know.
Patient? Who knows?
Who knows? Well, anyway, he has made you an offer.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
This is a relatively good deal. It will probably be kind of bad because, like most deals with David Georgie, they're kind of bad. Like he'll keep his end of the bargain by providing bodies. I'm certain that. I'm just not sure what I'm supposed to be doing in this deal because, like, it's very vague and imprecise. So he could be getting me to do some really uncouth stuff. So,
There could be. I know that you don't hold much value with just regular money. But I know you find value in the possession of things. Yes? Especially if they have benefits to your experimentation. What could you use right now? Let me ask you that. What would you find very useful at this moment in your, and he looks at the child, work?
As much as I respect your opinion, I don't think you would have the eye for it. I need body parts.
Oh,
I need bodies.
bodies.
Fresh ones at that.
Hmm. I think that can be arranged.
I've been throwing out some lures as of late, but nothing has picked up quite yet. These things do take time, and I can be patient. But I'm very curious. What do you want out of this deal?
Maybe. Maybe all I need is someone to be able to, as you like to collect things for me. Not necessarily having to do with your child, of course, but perhaps just little mementos or keepsakes for Hargrave House to remember. Remember me or other interested parties. In fact, I could give you something right now and give you a possible lead on, well, you are needing parts soon, yes?
Yes.
And he will give you something to keep. You can place it anywhere you like. I would not keep it in your room or in your lab. But anywhere you'd like, anywhere in the house.
All right. Let's see it.
And he reaches like behind his jacket and behind his back. And he pulls out what looks like a very gnarled hand. But it's very dried and desiccated. Could almost be branch-like, except it looks like a hand. Again, place it anywhere you like. Anywhere you think it's appropriate.
Do I want to ask what it does?
Oh. Consider it part of an experiment, which you may get to see the results of, or if you do your job right, or you complete your project, then you can come away knowing that you completed something of great importance, but not have to worry about the consequences afterward.
Ah.
And the incisors, really shine at that point.
I think as I take this weird, quite literally, possibly a monkey's paw, uh, uh, into my hands, I'm considering where to put it, where to hide it away. That's the rest of Hargrave House will not remove it from the building. A bit of advice. I think most people would probably be intimidated with your new aesthetics. I'm not sure who your dentist is, but sharp canines often frighten regular people.
Am I worried about that? That is a question. You need not worry about that right now. Although, this would be a great time to go out and see about getting you that, well, whatever particular body part did you want. Yes?
Yes. Excellent.
I think though, we need to make our way quite stealthily downstairs. I don't think you'd want to be crawling through this window.
No. I think Sir Atticus is probably out already for the night, and the other things I was doing tonight got interrupted, so.
Isn't there a, and actually, I mean, like, I think Dame Georgie did know this, but there's a back staircase
Mhm.
leading from this lab out the back, isn't there?
Yes. This lab has several corridors throughout the house. I haven't fully explored all the entrances yet. It's a little bit of a maze, honestly speaking.
Well, I can at least speak from my experience here. I think it'll be an easy thing to go down one of those back staircases and come out and do your business.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think as we're heading out, I think like in the hallway or somewhere, there is just some potted plants. And I think I just stick it in the hand in there as though it was like another like little branch. So blends in.
Yep. All right. And then, pardon, Atticus. Sorry. Oh, you got a 10. And you owe a flashback. I think as we enter back into the scene with you, I think we're seeing the burden and in this form, but you're not the one wielding it. Who is?
Sir Atticus Wellington-Hughes the First. He has a bushy mustache. We have seen him previously in the last flashback. Previously, he was fighting a river hag. Here, he is fighting a hydra, and he is harrying it on its ankles so that it cannot stand on its own legs, using the whip sword effectively to harry this thing while keeping out of range of its poisonous bite. And
Do you mind if I add like one detail?
oh yeah, sure.
I think that in this flashback, I think we see someone that looks like could be Sir Atticus's like squire, assistant, however you want to put it. I don't know. Possible factotum. Who the hell knows? But I think this particular person has an amazing resemblance, an uncanny resemblance to
Brad.
Father O'Donnell when you knew him
Okay.
as a young middle-aged man, somewhere around there. And he's yelling at Sir Atticus, saying it's like, we need to burn this. If we don't, it's going to keep growing back.
And what? Just be known as the man who took out a seven-headed hydra? Of course not. Poppycock, my dear man. We're going to keep going until we have at least double digits. Perhaps even 25.
You're lucky I don't burn you instead.
Just get the torches ready.
And then just kind of spits on the ground and then goes off and does his thing to get the torches ready. Yeah, and that's that scene. So we bring you back to the present and you are engaged. So which creature do you take out first with the many blades of the burden?
The big beast thing, because I'm used to fighting big beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever this feathery, furry chimera thing is.
Okay. Now, I'm going to say, because you're dealing with servants of the mastermind, you cannot kill them yet. All you
Oh,
can do
oh
is
no.
all you
Any
can
of
do
that.
is like, pretty much keep them at bay.
Yep.
But tell me how this fight looks, because I mean they're both coming after you. Again, I mean the huntsman almost buried an axe in your neck.
Uh, the whip sword is using the large beast as an anchor, and then Atticus is using that to deflect the axeman's axe, maybe wrapping around the axe and disarming the axeman. And then there's some good old fisticuffs, while this beast is just desperately trying to unravel itself from this bladed whip.
I think you'll hear its cries as it's trying to make its way, because as it's trying to pull on one thing to try to get out of it, I think it's pushing another thing into itself. So
Um,
it's a little bit tangled maybe?
and
Or is that too much?
No. I'm good with that. There's a second part to Fueled by Vengeance that I didn't know if you wanted to trigger.
What is it?
Uh, if you do use the benefit, ask another hunter how your doggedness or brutality makes them feel. This may give them a condition at the keeper's discretion, and then unmark the darkened threshold. Uh, Given that we do have another hunter who might just be going down the back step and see this savagery as Atticus is in his element. Atticus does not care about the keening cries of this large beast. All he cares about is keeping them out of the house.
Um, so yeah, like let's just say that as you're making your way down the back staircase, it's like you do see, like, through balustrades, or like maybe through some doors that just seem to be positioned in just the right way here in this weird bigger than the outside Hargrave House. You do see this battle. You do see what Sir Atticus is doing. How do you feel about this? I mean, he is not giving a shit. He is tearing through, the one and then trying to beat up the other. What do you think? Dame Georgie has gone ahead and just kind of leading you outward, but you see this. You see this fight.
How do you feel, John?
Yeah. Sir Atticus is a hypocrite. He shamed me earlier into saying that we should not be like our quarries. But honestly, he is no different than a beast in this moment. Do I think I'm wrong of that? No, I'm still frustrated by that fact that he called me out on this. But could I call him out? Probably not. So, but everyone has their secrets, and I head out the door.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. What was Fueled by Vengeance?
And
Excuse
I
me.
will unmark the darkened threshold as
Okay.
I indulge in my brutality.
Okay. Oh man.
This does not give me an X unless you want it to, unless you want to trigger the beast.
Oh, I would love to. Yes, actually, because you're keeping them at bay, and they're trying their damnedest to try to get through, and you're not giving them any quarter. So yes, mark that X, please.
Okay. Liat, as you go to speak to Guinevere, you look out a window. What is this final omen that you see that ushers in the approach of the beast?
I think since you had earlier mentioned some stuff doing with Faye, I think that there is what almost looks like this sort of aurora borealis. It's shooting across the sky, but it's a very thin line, and it's heading in the direction of Belgrave Square.
Sorry.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. And then yes, John, you do get a condition. I'm just trying to think of what it is. I mean, I just feel like outrage. You feel outraged.
The audacity.
Or yeah, that's put it that way. It's like outraged. The audacity. Exclamation point.
Yeah, I'm gonna word it as the audacity of Sir Atticus.
Yeah, sounds great. You could put an exclamation point on that too, because God knows. It's like I'd be like asshole. Okay. Chaotic. Moch demands a sacrifice of status. What does the cult offer him? Describe the manner of the offering. And remember, please mention how reality subtly distorts in the background.
It was foreshadowed. It was foreshadowed earlier in the night with the white gloves of the servants, because they take their masters and their lords, their ladies, and they shove them down into the mud, into the grime, into the dirt, and have them grovel at their feet. For this is what they deserve. This is what the faithful do. The roles are swapped. And they become like pigs. And I think reality shifts in the way that they quite literally become like pigs. These half boar, half people creatures, as they are squealing and scrambling because they aren't sure what's even going on right now.
Liat, as you make your way to Guinevere, I think the camera sees that Mrs. Vardana's still looking quite entranced at at where the next level is going to be. So as you're making your way up one way, she's making her way with the rest of the audience to the third level, which as they are going through, it's like you notice, or everyone sees the red carpets, the rolls of red carpeting that seems to be making weird paths up to the third level. And there's strange, not panoplies, like trappings of heraldry of a sort, but they're distorted. You can't quite tell what they are in this dimming, shifting light that's here. It's partially candlelight, but it's also partially the shifting scenes and colors from the second level that seem to be flashing up here. And she makes her way, almost entranced with what she's going to see. And while this is happening, it becomes more bizarre, difficult to follow. And some of those that can't understand what's going on or are blinded and dazzled by these strange lights, they clutch their way down the balustrade to leave, and just looking confused or angry at having stood through the other acts. You hear the introduction of the three courtiers of the occluded king, each being introduced in strange ways. The Duchess, the Prince, and the Knave. Paint the scene for everyone. In what disturbing or bizarre ways are the three courtiers introduced? And what could make it easier is by having each one of you take one of the courtiers. Or bizarre ways are the three courtiers introduced. Duchess, Knave, Prince.
The Duchess is introduced, and when she's brought out, it's this sort of, it's almost animatronic looking head, very large, and it's painted up to look like a member of the royal court, but like an Elizabethan court. So almost like lead white face, powdery pink cheeks, and crepey red lips. And she has this large, kind of voluminous crinoline dress on, but we only see the head and the skirt. We see, instead of legs, we see a series of about a dozen arms crawling out from beneath the black velvet curtain. And as she emerges, it's almost like a spider or a millipede. It's this face that the jaw moves, though there doesn't seem to be any kind of like visible puppeteering. That it rests on top of the presumably performers who are beneath the skirt, who are moving around, just using only their hands.
I think the audience at first thinks that the knave is coming in from a different play, like, because he is dressed in a very modern fashion, but sort of in that white lab coat sort of way. Long black gloves that are of a rubbery material, and for some inexplicable reason, wet. Wet with what? We're not sure. Uh, and just drapes on stage, looking at the audience, judging very silently, methodically, looking at their heads, their bodies, their hands. Which one will be the next experiment?
I think the prince enters from the back of the stadium, or of the theater. And at first, it's a very regal procession. But as they approach the stage, people begin jumping into the aisles, and the prince steps upon them. And more people begin jumping into the aisle and piling on top of each other as the prince steps slowly, methodically, calmly, until eventually the prince arrives on the stage, tramping upon, well, audience members without even a care, as if it were just a normal thing to do. And the members of the audience, some are thankful for this opportunity, others are confused or concerned that they threw themselves out. And we realize that these were just audience members that were driven to do this thing. And they don't know why.
I'm going to add the detail that Mrs. Vardana is probably one of them. And she doesn't know why, but she does it anyway. And she seems almost blissfully gleeful to have done so. And the camera moves in closer, and then you can sort of see like something moving underneath her skin as she becomes more immersed in the play. But, Liat, you may not have noticed any of this at all. You hear it distantly. You hear the introductions of the different courtiers. But I think all that you see is Guinevere's face as she does that slow turn towards you and waits.
Liat finally, same floor as Guinevere. She's holding Abdurrahman, and she sets him down letting him go about his business. He knows what he's doing. He's fine. He's keeping an eye on her. Everything will be fine if anything happens. But she lets him roam, and as she does, she begins to sort of move through the crowd, just pushing past anybody who might be in her way. She's not like forcing herself ahead. She is just very kind of carefully treading closer until finally she's like a foot away from her. Is it you?
As far as I know, it's always been me. Yes. Is it you?
Oh. Yes, there is only one me.
Yes. I well know that. That smile of hers beams at you, so close, and yet so far. How has it come to be? Last I remember, I was walled up in that convent, regretting my choices, or made to regret my choices. But there's always been a little part that never questioned your role, your importance in my life. Maybe that was the spark that kept me going.
Been so long, though. I'm not sure how you're even here.
I found myself wandering the gardens of the convent, and before I knew it, I found myself in some strange place, as if I was called there. It was through the mists. It was stepping into a land that I did not know what it meant. Almost seeing the people that we knew as dreams, as shades.
Pulled by whom?
A queen. A queen of the future, she said. Time beyond my own Arthur, of course. But somewhere in the future, or in this case, a distant past. It's very confusing. I have been living in this place called Reverie. And it's been interesting to provide that counsel to this monarch, as you counseled me or gave me comfort.
Liat sort of relaxes a bit. Before she was very much on guard, but I think now she's sort of relaxed and she reaches out as if to take Guinevere's hands.
And Guinevere has a distinct sigh of relief that you can hear even above the cacophony of the chorus, like behind you and down. And I think she will entwine her fingers with yours if you'll let her.
Mm-hmm.
And she will come close and whisper as very close to your ear or your cheek as possible. I've missed you.
Missed you so much. I hated to leave you behind the way that I did. But it was for your own good.
You had no choice. They drove you away.
This play is tiresome. Let's leave. Let's have the night to ourselves.
Where do we go? I am.
Just follow me.
And she nods. And she will make her way, still holding your hand, still her fingers entwined with yours.
Yeah.
And yeah.
She'll begin to lead her out of the Society Obscura. I imagine Abdurrahman sort of waddling behind. And yeah, just sort of empty out into the London streets.
I think as you lead her out into London streets, we fade into also like almost a match cut of Dame Georgie leading John Weiss into the London streets as well, from a different way. And I think you will make your way with Dame Georgie to. I think you'll make your way back to Shoreditch for some reason. And he will say over his shoulder, there is detritus here. There are people here that beneath us all, even you, John. And I think we can take advantage of that.
Definitely, that's the people who are missed least are here.
That's the key. Absolutely. And he waves you he waves you on and then have you kind of like press yourself against the wall of a particular alleyway. And he seems to hesitate going into this alleyway. I think we as the audience know that this is the same alleyway where he ran into Obert and found Lady Abigail. But yeah, he will go into the darkness. He seems to blend and fade into the darkness as you're waiting there with your back against the wall, possibly trying to stay alert and aware of what will happen. So in this case, I'm going to give you a night move. And this would be with, oh boy. Assume that he has found someone to hunt. However, that does not protect you from other things or other people coming upon you in this dark alley, essentially. So, night move. What do you think will go wrong if you fail or lose your nerve?
I think what I'm most afraid of is that the kill is going to be botched. And I'm going to be left with my hands a full-on corpse by myself in the middle of Shoreditch in the middle of the night. That's a problem.
That is, yes, one of the problems. Yes. I'm going to say that to make it worse is not only will the job be botched, or maybe it's a trap, who knows? But you will be left alone to not only face the dead body, but like maybe perhaps you meet someone else coming upon you with something of the same kind of goal. And will want to add your body to their collection.
Oh no.
Yes. So that is how it's worse. I'm going to say that you can roll this with composure.
Oh, goody.
Goody, Gumdrop. Yes.
Yes, composure is a +1.
Okay.
Um,
If you have any kind of things that you can use for advantage, I suggest using them now.
No, because all of them require me to have my hands on someone else.
Mm,
Lots of medical tools, no people to use them on, unfortunately.
yet.
That's garbage. 4.
Holy crap-a-doodle-doo.
A one,
Okay,
a 1, a 2, and I'm +1.
okay. So, here's what happens. You see him fade into the darkness. And soon after, I think you hear like the squelch of something. And you hear a small scream choked off. And then what the sounds of drinking. But then from your other side, from behind you, as you're waiting in anticipation, I think you smell a combination of turpentine and pipe smoke. And you hear the huff of somebody smoking.
I
Go
turn
ahead.
to face them.
You see this middle-aged man wearing like tiny little glasses like balanced on his nose, gray and white hair, and seeming to wear an apron over his rather shabby clothes. And he's smoking the pipe very casually and says, "Ah, do you know what makes you a man?"
Do I recognize this guy?
Only from stories, maybe. And he's asking you the question, do you know what makes you a man?
Lots of things. It's hard to list them all, but I would say that the very basics of your own name makes you a man.
Well, in my mind, it's not the ability to make a child. It is the courage to raise one. And in my case, fashion one of my own. He's not perfect, but the Queen has promised that for each boy that I bring her, he will become ever more lifelike. And I think he takes another puff. You hear the click of wood behind you, and you get stabbed through the heart
Oh no,
as a wooden doll comes up and stabs John Weiss through.
Oh man, I'm gonna spend a mask of the past.
Okay. Okay. That brings you up to 729,
Mm-hmm.
which means you keep it together and you just face a cost or complication. I think for this mask, you don't run into Geppetto.
Oh.
You will instead hear the squelching and then the drinking, and then out from the shadows comes back out Dame Georgie. The bottom of his mouth and jaw are all drenched, what looks like it black because you're in like mostly darkness. And then his front looks like it's also stained in something very wet. And he just grins with that very incisory grin and goes, "Ah, I started. You are welcome to finish. Remember our bargain."
Horse.
And he just kind of like gestures. "Oh, that's right. You can't see like I can." And he fumbles in his coat pocket, and then I probably like flicks on like a lighter of some sort or what have you. "You'll probably need this to see." and you will see like once the lighter's flicked on and then you kind of like make your path, you see like the trail of blood from Dame Georgie's person
Mm-hmm.
and like leading into the alley. Would you like to pull a
Yeah.
move here?
Um, Technically speaking, I do have a move for this
Mm-hmm.
because I am presumably examining a body.
Yep.
I have beneath the skin.
Okay.
When you examine a corpse, you may ask the keeper two of the following.
Yes.
The first one I would like to ask, and I think the most pertinent to the situation,
Mm-hmm.
excluding Dame Georgie because I don't think he's gonna leave me alone. Can I take a body part for the child without anyone noticing?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay,
it's part of the bargain, sure.
yeah. So I can just get a body part for free.
Yes.
But I also get a second question. I think this is sort of an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
And I mind not getting a clue for it. But what would an untrained eye overlook here? Like,
Well, let me ask you something. I would like to give you a clue, but you have to tell me like, what you're interested in.
I think I'm more interested in realizing that Dame Georgie isn't human. I would like the narrative permission for that because, like, I know John Weiss likes to deny the supernatural,
Mm-hmm.
but I would like just to acknowledge like this man has literally torn out like the throat of this victim and just with his bare teeth effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm dealing with a vampire. That's all I really want.
I think the untrained eye would immediately like, go to the throat, which looks distinctly worried. Like it's been bitten, it's been, you know, uh, torn. But I think the trained eye would notice that there's considerably less blood around this area
Mhm.
than would be expected. Even if there was some sort of iron deficiency, even if this was like, somebody enacting some sort of like animalistic tendencies or something like that, there should be more blood than there is.
Mm. You. Oh, the hair is very nice on this one.
Okay.
I like to take that away as I scalp the head
Okay.
with my scalpel. It is a very imagine the blade is about from the end, like the sort of end of the palm up to the middle finger in length. Very precise, very neatly clean cuts. This is very messy, don't you think? As I'm just cutting away, trying to make conversation with Dame Georgie.
Oh, I don't know. I think I've cleaned up after myself very well, notwithstanding, of course, my appearance.
I
But I
mean,
think I think if you turn around and you look at Dame Georgie at this point, I think you'll notice that the blood is miraculously gone.
I'm not talking about you yourself. I'm talking more about the body. The wound is. I can't use the head in its entirety. That's a rather bit of a disappointment, and a lot of the blood has been drained away.
You hear the smacking of,
Yeah,
ah, yes.
you know, I consider myself to be a very practical man. I won't. I'm very curious, but I'm worried that my curiosity would put me in more of a predicament than it already has.
I think you hear and you're like right in your ear. It's like, yes, John, curiosity has killed cats. Don't be a cat.
Mhm. Course. But if you ever need anything, I think, with me at least, I won't judge. After
Oh,
all, I'm just curious.
of course. And this is where you hear his voice go back further, you know, just as quickly as as it came right by your ear, and you hear his voice as if he has been staying back in the front of the alley, and he says, "Of course, we have a bargain. You keep things for me at Hargrave House as mementos, and I help you get what you need."
Mhm. Yes.
I would ask for yet another favor,
Mhm.
that you not say anything about our deal to the other hunters at Hargrave House.
I had no inclination of doing that to even begin with. One doesn't care about me whatsoever. The other disappears on a regular basis. And the third, well,
Disappears.
yes. The third, well, I think you two are just two peas in a pod, honestly speaking.
How so?
Promise that you won't rip out my throat for what I say next.
It goes dead silent for a second,
Hmm.
and then
Curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. You are both bloodthirsty monsters, and you would do everything to see it continue to spill throughout London. There is no difference between the two of you.
you'll hear something like a sound from Dame Georgie. You
Mhm.
can't see, you're still by the body, but I think you'll hear something of a note of regret in his
Mhm.
voice when he says, "I didn't used to think that way."
No,
I
I thought.
had.
Go ahead.
Maybe there was someone who I thought, for maybe a moment, could convince me otherwise.
Mm.
That blood was valuable to save. But now, they're gone. And I know I was foolish to think that at all. So, I now serve someone who is all about blood. Maybe if you do a great job yourself, you too can serve such a grand queen.
If I succeed, I would have conquered death itself. And maybe blood needs to be spilt more to bring back those precious to us. You probably can't say it yourself, but I believe you are trapped in your own machinations, Dame Georgie. And I will
Perhaps.
free you when I am done with my schemes. Because I think you desperately need a friend.
I think out of the darkness, in the light of the lighter, I think you see a very pale hand reach out for yours.
Mhm.
Your hand on it then.
Mhm. I'll put my hand on it.
Yeah, and I think we fade out from you shaking Dame Georgie's very pale, very cold hand. And we go into Sir Atticus. Sir Atticus, tell me how this battle ends. If it does, what do they do? Amen. Again, you cannot kill them because they are. The mastermind threat has not been dealt with, but, you know, they give it as good as they get, but they are unable to do anything but fight you to a standstill.
I imagine that dawn is swiftly approaching.
You see the streaks of dawn starting to make their way across the horizon.
I think Atticus, with a flick of the wrist, unwinds the bladed whip from the beast, kicks the axeman for some distance, says, I have an appointment that I must keep, regardless of whether I want to or not. And I figured that your mistress would rather not prefer that you're making a mess in the middle of, well, the streets of London where the rest of the citizenry can see.
My mistress, as red as a rose, blooms in times of trouble, and she sees this trouble we've wrought and approves of the distraction created. He clutches at his arm, which I think you've sliced at pretty well, but he still smiles through his bloody teeth. And we shall away. But do not think this is over. Man of the hunt, I smell more beasts coming, not just us.
Atticus will lean over, pick up this fancy silver axe that he's been brandishing this whole time. I think I'll keep this as collateral then, for the next time you visit.
He smirks. You can try.
Oh,
But I'll come back with an even bigger one. And he will get underneath his companion's wing arm, and he will support him as the other supports him, and they kind of like carry / shuffle their way away.
Once they are out of sight, Atticus will lean exhaustedly against the door frame, let the axe fall. Didn't even disarm him. Definitely losing my touch.
And I think at this moment, I think you hear something of a memory behind you, like off to the side, as if they're coming up. And as before, always the worse for wear. Is this worth it to you, my friend? And I think coming up behind you, out of the shadows, you'll see the face of Father O'Donnell, as you saw him way back when you were both of the same age. Not as old as you were before the dimension jump, if we want to call it that, but possibly a little bit younger when he was aware of your adventures and wanted to desperately go on some of them himself.
There's a look of shock and joy, but also confusion. You can't be here. You're much too old to be here.
Yes, about that. It's my fault, brother. We had to make sure we were back at this time. And out of the shadows behind Father O'Donnell is your sister.
Loren, I. Uh, right, yes. Well, okay.
What happened? You... And she sees like all of your injuries and your wounds and all this kind of stuff, and she touches your cheeks because she can still see like the scars slash the sutures.
They are still tender, dear sister. Thank you for your kind ministrations, but I already had a doctor attend to them. I think I did anyway. Never. Regardless, I was not lying about that appointment. O'Donnell. Can it be my second? Still trying to piece together the nonsense.
Yes. Yes, I think I'm supposed to.
Capital.
And he looks to Loren, and she nods. Yes, we must speed away to make sure that we're there before... And then her face falls, and that's where we're going to cut over to the final unseen. Jack. Mock demands a sacrifice of blood. What does the cult offer him? Describe the manner of the offering. And how does reality subtly distort in the background?
I don't know if it's going to be that subtle, but I think that that the sort of strange boar hybrids who are sort of waddling around in the mud. They stop and brought in are the servants who were once wearing the white gloves and the pigskin masks, but they have been stripped naked. And the elders of this cult, who are all also sort of dressed in these sort of leather, like sewn leather robes with hoods. They wait by these two grand wooden doors with the naked servants, and the transformed cultists look at them, just surveying them in anticipation of what's to come next. And the cultists open the doors and they call out to the others in the room. They receive a 10-second head start, 10-minute head start, after which the hunt begins. And as they open the doors, we see that it's not just a room or doesn't just empty out to a garden. This is a full-on forest. This looks to be something like the Black Forest of Germany. This is lush and verdant and dark and foreboding. The cultists look to the servants and they're petrified, but one of the cultists takes out a flail and lashes one against their buttocks, and the cultists begin to flee into the dark, shadowy woods of whatever chamber this is. And as they disappear, those minutes go by, and then finally, the cultists turn to the eager acolytes. You may go. And one of the elders presents to them. It's essentially a tray filled with different sharp blades, and they take up these blades, and they begin to run into the wilderness, chasing after. And as they're running into through these doors, whatever camera we have sort of pans back up to this large painting of the boar hunt, where we see the anthropomorphic boars chasing after the naked, fleeing humans.
That is amazing.
Holy crap. Okay, so I think we pan back from that gorgeous, gorgeous scene, unseen, to back at the Society Obscura. For those that are left, for those that have stepped on the audience members who are finding themselves starting to distort and change. Maybe some of them have been to the play before, whether at Ranelagh or previous. Their forms are starting to shift more into the sock and buskin mask, and their bodies are starting to gnarl in strange ways. But those that are left, that are watching, each of the acts of the play were performed on different levels, with the Act 3 being on the top floor, surrounded by hexagonal mirrors or murals. It's hard to say because they're all shadowed over with the black velvets of the play's curtains. But from the curtains rise and billow around the audience members until it forms an overly tall figure in tattered black robes, a ghost white mask, and a blood-red helm that rises above them all, and then starts its descent down, down from the top, going through all of the different levels and hovering and then rising back up again to take the hand of the journeywoman, whom was pushed by the shrieking, discordant, dirge-singing chorus into the occluded king. And as he takes her hand, the lights go out. And when they come back on again, the curtains are back where they are. The occluded king is gone. And the chorus stands in their robes and their masks, utterly silent. Everyone is stunned. They come out of their piles or from where they were standing and then leave with befuddled looks on their faces. We fade to Liat and Guinevere. Where do you bring Guinevere, Liat?
I think we're walking across the London Bridge, overlooking the Thames, and we're sort of bathed in whatever sort of maroon-colored moonlight shining on us. And there's a moment where Liat gestures towards the river and says, "So you've not seen it? How long have you been here? What's called London now?"
Not very long. I mean, I have only seen that part where I first saw you on that boat. I feel like I remember dimly. We were on a boat once together.
We were.
I feel like I was happy then.
I was too. For a time, with you.
With you. I don't know if I can stay. I feel the tug, the pull of the land that I seem to now belong to. This reverie calling me back.
This queen who you serve now, how deeply do you serve her?
Not as deeply as you or we you and I served each other, if that is what you are worried about.
Or as you did with Arthur.
Arthur loved me, but I don't think he even understood the first thing about me. That is the way I feel with this particular queen. I have to thank her for being able to be here and seeing you. You are real, aren't you?
It's at this moment when Liat sort of spins her to face the sort of like put her hands on the banister of the bridge, and Liat puts her hands on top of hers and just sort of nestles her chin onto like the nape of her neck. Do you feel me?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Do I feel real to you?
Yes. I don't think anyone has felt this real for a very long time.
You see that out on the river. And Liat sort of tilts her head upwards in the direction of the sort of reflected, sort of ruby colored moonlight in the water. What does that remind you of?
She looks puzzled. I don't think it was around when we were together. But for some reason I feel as if this is much stronger now than it ever has been.
You want to know what it reminds me of?
No. What?
Your queen. Your queen of blood. And it's at this point where Liat backs away and pushes her over the edge. Actually, no. She's going to, if this is a roll, she's going to take out what she carries with her, sort of morbid token, a strip of the dress that she keeps from Lady Abigail. And she's going to wrap it around her throat and create it like not like a garrote, because those are meant to, I guess like a garrote, but she's going to try and strangle her with it.
Okay. This would be... Are you doing taketh?
No, because she's not a servant of mine.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, she's just taking her out.
Wait. I thought you... Does it have to be a servant? I mean, a follower?
Well, to start, Liat has to have the move taketh. Liat does not have the move.
It's true, I don't.
Okay.
I have.
I was curious because I was just like, wait, what are we doing?
Yeah, no, yeah,
yeah. If you destroy a side character, I mean,
yeah.
then that's taken away. So that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
But since you don't have it, so this is just you doing this, yeah?
Yes.
I'm debating whether to make this like information move to find out exactly what's going on, or at least to get a clue about what's going on, or to make this a risky move because shit can happen.
I'm fine with it being a night move.
Okay, night move. Night move with vitality, composure. I mean, like, to do this. I mean, does it mean anything to Liat? That's my first question.
It means everything to Liat.
Okay, no, I'm just asking because I mean, like, I don't know if this is like a revenge plot or what.
I mean, internally, it's one part. If I can't have her, no one will.
Okay.
Or if you belong to her, and I'm going to free you from her, rather, not if you can't have her. Because
Okay, got it. Okay.
But it's very much like. And also, she believes that Guinevere is sort of a toy that the queen is using against her, and she doesn't like to be meddled with.
Sure. Okay, so then in which case we're going to call this I think you have to keep your composure because I mean, like, you're essentially killing somebody that you loved or still love, who knows. But yeah, I think you're going to have to keep it together. Yeah, what are you afraid will happen if you fail or lose your nerve? What are you afraid?
I mean, she already thinks that this is an agent of the queen,
Uh-huh.
so she's gonna have to deal with some of the queen's other goons.
Yep. And the way it's worse is that, yeah, I think you will bring down the wrath of not only the huntsman who had thought to claim Gwen as his own, but also the queen who has done the same. So.
And is this rolled with disadvantage? Oh, I guess
Oh, most beloved, most
yeah.
assuredly.
So then that's why I mentioned the piece of dress. So I'm gonna mark that for just to make it a clean roll.
Okay.
Um,
Composure, baby.
Composure.
Oh God, what? What?
+3.
Oh my God, what is going on? Oh my God, you guys are making this so okay. So fun and delicious. Okay, so basically what happens is you take this out and you garrote her. You see her hands like lifting up and like gnarling around, like, you know, trying to get the fabric away and off of her, and you can hear her sounds, and you can see, like, I guess the blood suffusing and whatever, and then she will collapse at your feet when you are sure that the deed is done. And as that happens, the moon goes blood crimson red, and shadows pass, or I should say, like, shadows come next to you or approach you, and they turn into the figures of the huntsman, and they turn into a woman whom you've seen a few times, dressed in black and red, making the approach from the opposite side. And the woman will call out to you, Liat, as she approaches. How dare you take away one of my best players of the game?
I'm gonna put on a mask.
Okay, brings you to 7 to 9.
It'll
Tell
be a
me how
mask
you...
of the past, which is narrate a flashback to when you first met the person you fell madly in love with. So
Mask
that
of
seems
the...
appropriate.
Oh, yeah. Mask of the past. Okay. Tell me how you keep it together doing this.
Just keeping a fierce hold. I think that Guinevere's sort of again clawing at the piece of fabric, which is incidentally already stained with a lot of blood. She's tugging at it, trying to get purchase, but she can't. She just continues to hold, and there's this sort of look on Liat's face that isn't anger or glee or sadness. It's just completely devoid of any emotion. And so finally, when there's one final tug, and Guinevere's body goes limp, and she gently releases the fabric and lets Guinevere's body slump over the side of the bridge. And Liat stands there for a moment looking at the limp body of her former lover and sighs, and just taking up from the feet, lifts her up, pushes her into the river.
Given the amount of blood that's been released tonight, especially, like, you know, this release, sacrifice, however you want to term it, an immense cold clutching your heart. Liat, please take the cold-hearted condition.
And I so I'm scarring my reflection for that as well.
Yup.
Yeah,
Yuppers.
I think as soon as she feels that sort of iciness start to form over her inside of her, that the masterwork itself, the chest over the heart area starts to just crack open, and stone begins to fall out, leaving just sort of like a hollow opening.
Dr. Weiss, you've collected hair. What does this remind you of?
Oh, I have a mask to do as well.
Did you
Yeah.
want to combine them, or did you
Yeah,
want to? Okay, all right, that's fine. We
yeah,
can totally wait until, like, you know.
yeah. I do want to combine them because, according uh to my move the child, it does count like a sort of a flashback for both things. So
Okay, cool.
it just depends on how much time you want to give me.
I mean, are you gonna make it an elaborate story? I mean, like, you know,
Yeah,
you totally can. You can just do it either now or wait until,
yeah, I'll do it
next
now.
time.
As I'm basically taking it, and I have like this jar. I have like this bag with me where it has like various size jars because I wasn't sure what body part I was collecting tonight. It depended on the body and like the shape and the size. But I think I am lovingly stuffing the jar full of hair and skin. But it reminds me uh sort of the scene of like a somewhat uncharacteristically warm day at like the beach. Sort of I am trying to write in this little letter, and I really can't make heads or tails of what words to say to woo people, and I think sort of coming up behind me, like my hair just gets all bedraggled in like into my face, and and it comes back to me, John. You can't just be keep your head in these letters all day. You have to meet her eventually. Uh, this is not how you woo women. Uh, you you have to show passion. You have to show initiative. John just goes, there's a certain way you do things about in England, and I don't care what happens in Russia, that Dmitri. It's a very different practice. I am uh to be find a compatriot that we are intellectually aligned with, at the very least, to remain married for a number of years and have children with, and just to assure the ascendancy of a line. It's a very practical manner, and by keeping things in letters, then everything will be all right. And Dmitri just laughs at that. Listen to you act as though you're trying to buy a house or something. No, this is about passion. I've seen you with other women before, and you have no sort of spark. You have more spark amongst the anatomy tables. You have more sparks in sort of zoos. You have everywhere else. You have spark. You have life. Why don't you just live a little, get experience out there, find your joy? And I think like Dimitri just pulls John up from him sitting down and like takes him sort of like running into the water and just trying to get John to at least take a break from what he's doing.
Nice. All right. And as you're going through that, we fade from there. We fade into approaching the park. And you have your sister and Father O'Donnell on
Mm-hmm.
either side, Sir Atticus. Um, Lauren asks you, did you bring a pistol, or was he going to provide them? Do you remember?
I have one from a friend.
Okay. All right.
Loren, does this man need to die?
If I say anything, most likely won't happen. We are here to support what happens when it is over.
Very well. And I think as they wait, or at least as they approach the sister, it is lovely to see you again, regardless of circumstance.
It is always wonderful to see you, brother. I wish the circumstances were much better than this, but it is how it is.
It is London.
And Father O'Donnell will pipe up on your other side. He'll say, I will tell you the story of how this has come to pass, but after this is done.
Atticus will pull him into a hug.
And he will give you as enthusiastic of a hug back with that clapping on the back.
It's bloody good to see you, man.
And it is good to see you as well, Atticus, my friend.
Finally, a member of the clergy I can trust. Damnable thing, I can tell you stories from this branch of London. It's been an absolute mess.
He actually puts a hand on your mouth gently and says, we need you to focus on what is going to happen.
Yes, fine. Pageantry.
You see the figure. Basically, you see the big tuft of white hair before you really make out the figure himself. And next to Dr. Rory Walters, you will see a smaller man. He's not identifying him. He's just saying, this is my second. Are you ready? I assume this is yours.
Yes. And I will
divest yourself of any other weapons. We are only using the pistols at 10 paces.
You don't even want to have our seconds discussed to see if there is some manner of not spilling blood involved?
No. The Wellington-Hughes family owes this to mine.
Very well. I will divest myself of all weapons except an 1851 Colt Navy revolver that was previously owned by a close personal friend.
And basically the seconds will examine each of the guns, like, in each other's presence, just to make sure everything's fine and whatever. He has a similar type of firearm, just to make sure that there's no chicanery or whatever.
As part of the inspection, I must draw the 1851 Colt Navy revolver for the first time during the night phase.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So it is not subject to inspection? There's going to be some shit about that.
It is.
Okay.
I'm saying that I have to roll the sensitivity roll.
Oh, that's right.
As part of that.
Okay, go for it.
6 plus 2 is 8, plus 2 from my sensitivity is a 10.
Okay. And just remind me real quick about what that gets you.
I channel the soul of the fastest gun in the West. I roll with advantage when taking actions that involve the 1851 Colt Navy revolver until the dawn phase. And whenever there is a question of who acts first, it is always me.
Given that, you tell me how this duel turns out.
Okay. We walk out 10 paces. I guess I don't know if somebody says draw or something like that.
Yes. I mean, basically, like, the seconds will agree between themselves, like, who's going to count down. And I think it's Dr. Walters' second. He's counting down the paces, and then Once it gets down to 1, he'll just say, shoot, and...
Atticus draws first,
Okay.
and he waits for the gunshot. He will shoot second.
How does this turn out?
I think the man lands a clean, solid flesh wound. Atticus ends the duel. This man is dead.
Dr. Walters second will come up and do an aloof congrats and say, and by terms of the duel, then winner walks away. My congratulations to you, sir. I guess I am to clean up this mess.
Atticus nods, puts the gun away.
And I think you don't notice it because I think the adrenaline's still pumping in your ears as you're like staring down at Dr. Walter's body. But I think the other two, like Loren and Father O'Donnell, just kind of look at each other and just give this suppressed sigh of relief. And I think we will close out of night phase at this point. If you have time, I want to be able to go through dawn real quick so we can make sure we're covering everything. Boy, I hope so.
Yeah.
And let's go through all of the dawn questions, please. All right. Did the hunters answer a question? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Did the hunters resolve a threat? No. Did you experience an echo in the night, John?
Oh yeah, a couple times, mentioning sort of peak themes between both the play and the unseens.
A lot of opportunities, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Did you dismiss the possibility of a supernatural explanation despite everything you've experienced?
Last session, this session, John is taking a little kinder approach to the supernatural, apparently.
Yeah, there was something still left on the scaffolding. Did you secretly engage in romantic or emotional behavior at odds with your aloof, logical exterior?
Yes, last time through a mask.
Alrighty, take those points, change your elective dawn questions if you so choose, and add them to your XP track. Liat. Hunters answered a question. Yes. Hunters resolve a threat. No. Did you experience an echo in the night?
I don't think I did. No.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's on me.
Did you appear in London society wearing risque or avant-garde fashion? I totally forgot to ask you about what you were wearing to the theater.
It's fine.
society.
I think last time I had mentioned what I was wearing though, and it was I think it was risque.
Go ahead.
More on the risque side.
Yeah. Did you create an ornate, over-the-top erotic experience for someone else's pleasure?
I mean, Guinevere is really into breath play, so I think in that regard, totally did.
Stretching.
I think I really did for her.
Oh my god.
No, I did not.
Yeah. Okay. Take those points. Change your elective dawn questions if you so choose. All right, Sir Atticus. Hunters answered a question. Yes. Hunters resolve a threat. No. Did you experience an echo in the night?
Nope.
Did you taste something or someone else's blood, sweat, or other bodily fluids?
Nope, not this time.
You had such opportunity, dude.
Bro, I don't want to taste this weird chimera or Axeman. No.
Or the guy that he shot in a duel.
least of all, listen, all right, that guy got the last dawn question.
That loudly curse your family's name.
Yes, I did, because here I am picking up the mess after the third. Third is a real piece of work. Although, as you saw today, first ain't much better.
Oh, man. Ugh. Okay. So, we have answered the dawn questions. God dang it. I mean, I'm sure there's like a bunch of things I'm forgetting, and I'm so sorry, but there was so much to this. Liat, I know you have a Mask of the Past, but we can wait until beginning of next session if you so like, unless you have time to do it now. Okay, that's fine. And so we are going to go straight into Stars and Wishes. God knows, holy crap! I'm just looking at my notes and just going, what?
I've been leaving star notes so I can go first.
Please.
Mhm.
Chaotic. It was good to see John drawing some boundaries in terms of don't touch those eyes. Those eyes are mine. And then swiftly turning around and being like, yes, I would love to snitch on Hargrave House effectively. I don't know. I'm very concerned about this, but I'm interested to see where it goes. Mads, very happy to see Dame Georgie being a job recruiter. Adequately suspicious, very smarmy. I think it is. I think being a smarmy vampire sits well on Georgie. I think it's good. Jack, I liked your unseen. Just the rapid escalation from, oh yeah, no, this is just a group of rich people turning into the most dangerous game. Yes, no, we have rented out this entire forest. Go get them. And then the double-sided nature of just seeing Liat very tender, very loving towards Guinevere, and then saying, well, I'm gonna, if I can't have you, no one can, and then just deciding murder. Unexpected, shocking, very appreciated. Wish, it is time. It's time. The beast.
Yeah.
We have two
Yeah.
threats. Beast.
I'm glad that we're not going to be getting 4 threats on the table at once, because I think the shenanigans would arise from that.
Yeah, that's a start.
Last
oh my God.
last season had several more than 3 threats on the
Yeah,
board.
the tone of this game was very interesting because Sir Atticus could not get outside the door of Hargrave House the entire night. And he was just brawling, and I just love, like, John was like, Weiss was like, no, this is bullshit. I hate this. I'm going out. Goodbye. Liat, it was very sweet and very tender, and then it's like, oh, there's the Liat we all know and love, murdering away.
I resent that. I resemble that remark.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I also love to get a chance to get more body parts in more masks, just to get John Weiss of, like, what is he about? What is motivating him? And he's like, no, it's just my child. I love him. I love my Dimitri. So glad to get the name on board at least. I'm looking. Oh, I gotta give a star for Mads for playing a much more charismatic Dame Georgie, because, like, that's how I imagine him in my mind, as this swarmy but also highly irredeemable character. I love him, and I love what you're doing with him. I don't think I could roleplay him like that just because I'm not that charismatic. I play him more of an ass. But I just, oh man, he's a threat, and he's gonna be a menace. And he's gonna cause John to be a menace as well, because John is easily highly influenceable. You tell him to do stuff and he's just gonna do it. It's terrible.
Well, he's in a win-win situation, so hey.
Yeah. He gets fed, and he gets to spy on Hargrave House. Wow. I also look forward to seeing more of the Queen of Hearts reactions, because I really love the cold-heartedness on Liat, because that's very good. And I look forward to the more extreme failures, because those are exciting. and scary. But yeah, and oh man, the duel with Sir Atticus is just like, it's so good to see Sir Atticus get shot and then kill anyways. Oh,
I was so on the fence about like willingly failing so I could just use Ultimate Man.
Oh man, yeah.
But
That would have been interesting.
You don't
And
need no
that's
move. You're already the ultimate man.
right. Oh yeah, exactly.
oh, stop you.
Oh
Yeah, no
man.
stars, good times. Trying to think of stuff that people haven't already said yet. Yeah, I liked the conversations between Georgie and John. John is a piece of shit. I can already tell you right now. I see it here. I see it now. And like the smarminess that you're kind of meeting Georgie with told me everything I need to know about him now. I know where he's coming from, and I liked getting to just have the flashback of Dimitri, and it's a little glimpse of what might be motivating him. I'm still not entirely sure what it is, but I have my theories, but I'm going to keep them to myself until I see more. But yeah, love that. Love that. Atticus is always just stuck at the house fighting off people, trying to get in. Some things never change. And yeah, Mad's star to start throwing Guinevere at me. Like I said, it wasn't as much if I can't have you, no one will, as much as it's like, oh, you're messing with my toy, you're messing with my stuff. Let me be petty and show you what's good. So it was really just kind of the active ultimate pettiness on Liat's part, but it's just sort of a personal wish for myself. I'm curious to see what becomes of her out of this, because I think this is sort of a line that's crossed for her. This is like she's now made, like, the Queen of Hearts has now made an enemy out of Liat, and when her cat grows up to be a man next time, all hell's breaking loose.
Oh my gosh. Fan freaking tastic. Oh, and by the way, Sir Atticus, your condition is survivor.
oh,
So you get that for next time. And then I'm going to say just some of the themes that were running around today, either mentioned or my gosh, like kept on being recurring, like experimentation, experiments, and blood. Lots and lots of blood. Yeah. And just the unseens were fucking-tacular. I love it. The paint the scenes were equally just out there and like keeping up with the surreality of it and the tone. And bless your hearts if you remembered. But the callbacks to last season, that just about, I wanted to cry. And I didn't cry, thank God. But damn, I'm like, mm, mm, mm. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, because I love those things. Not just when I do them. It's like, when other people can call back to them as well. Just enriches my heart. So yeah, wishes for next time. Let's see. Hopefully we get Ernest back, because he missed out on this, but maybe he had an adventure of his own. We don't know yet. And then, oh God, Sticky Wicket. So we have John feeding or helping, aiding, abetting Dame Georgie, and then Dame Georgie. It's, what is it? It's like toxic, sympathetic, symbiotic relationship. I don't know what the hell. It's bad.
It's bad influence. It's all the way down.
Yes,
we're enabling each other.
Yeah, there we go. You're enabling each other, and oh my howdy. Okay, great.
As I said before, I can't believe I made this type of character twice in the between.
It's great. It's great. So long as you like it, and you want to see the arc all the way through, this is great.
I have a type.
Oh man, I don't know.
I think we all do.
Well, I mean, as said in chat, it's like, Liat being completely girl boss. Jesus H. That it
just comes naturally to
It
Jack.
comes naturally. I mean, you just so elegant, so poised, and yet so nasty and so poisonous at the same time. God damn. So
Yeah,
good.
but what about Liat?
Oh, you. So modest and yet so arrogant. I love it. So, again, so good. All those stars, I mean, everybody did such a great job with everything. I mean, I really enjoyed this episode a lot. And I hope you did too, because holy crap. Yeah. Wishes. So, again, yeah, to see what the fallout for Liat is for this. I mean, what if anything, any kind of like actions that she's going to take against this queen that she knows is against Hargrave House. And then of course John, like, maneuvering underneath everybody else and hiding stuff. And Sir Atticus, yeah, we can get the story next time if you want about why Father O'Donnell is now full grown and why
good.
your sister is now here.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Yep. And then I will introduce the beast for next day.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too, because this is the first time I've done it. This is the first time I've seen it. Oh my god, I can't wait. Oh my god. Sorry.
Oh, I also look forward to vulnerable moves next time because
Vulnerable moves.
Yeah,
because
loaded
holy
up.
cow, we're full up on the board.
We are loaded up.
Sir Atticus is fine. Everyone else has at least 2 conditions.
Whoa. But I would still love to be vulnerable and discuss our feelings over a good smoke.
Or breakfast.
Always.
Both.
Yep. Oh my gosh, so good, guys. I have to say, well, I don't know if anybody else has got anything to say, but my God, so good. Hope you had fun. That should be the most important thing, regardless. And yeah, I mean, we'll just have some stuff to set up for next time. So, yes, the beast will be introduced. Liat has a mask of the past. We can even open with that if you want. And then yeah, oh God, vulnerable moves away.
Hope that Mike, you and Chaotic feel better.
Yeah.
Tyou.
I hope you guys recover.
So I hope that you're less under the weather next time. Or else.
I will do my utmost to not miss next session.
Very good.
That's so gracious. Well, we would all like the whole table to be here for the shenanigans. My God. So, if I don't see you guys, if I don't see you guys for something else, it's like happy gaming, and I will see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.